Welcome to the news on Zodiak. This is Chancellor Zabanda. The headlines. Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority adjusts upwards fuel prices. TUM suspends teacher strike after convinced of a once-off COVID-19 payment by Presidential Task Force. High Court adjourns to March 16 hearing of Prophet Bushiri request for relief from further arrest by Malawi police. In sports, First Capital Bank recommends sponsorship for National Youth Football League. We now give you the news in detail. The Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority MERA has increased pump price for fuel effective midnight today. Petrol will now be selling at 899 kwacha, up from 834 kwacha, representing 7.34% increase, while diesel has gone up from 826 kwacha to 898 kwacha, representing 8.66% increase. Paraffin has been adjusted from 613 kwacha to 719, representing 17.35% increase. MERA spokesperson Fitina Konje attributed the hike to depreciation of Malawi kwacha and its impact on energy prices on the global market. This report by Andrew Viano.
MERA spokesperson Fitina Konje announced that the body has adjusted upwards prices of fuel and other petroleum products due to two factors that he said: depreciation of kwacha by about 1% and changes in petroleum products internationally. She said that prices of petroleum products internationally have gone up, and that has been reflected on the fuel hikes. So effective midnight, petrol will be sold at 899 kwacha from 834 kwacha. Diesel will be sold at 898 kwacha from 826 kwacha, while paraffin will be sold at 719 kwacha from 613 kwacha. And gas will be sold at 1,952 kwacha from 1,880 kwacha. She said that this has been decided after considering that the price stabilization fund that was established to cushion incidences like this of fuel hikes have been factored in, and that is what led to maintaining of the prices in February. You remember that in February, the prices for petroleum products were maintained. There was no change of prices. And that, according to her, is because of the price stabilization fund that was established.
Teachers Union of Malawi has suspended the 3-week teachers strike they have been conducting countrywide after a government promised that it will start giving them a once-off payment to help them acquire PPEs. The decision has been arrived after a joint parliamentary committee on education and social affairs summoned TUM and Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 members for mediation talks on the COVID-19 risk allowance stalemate. For details, here is Chimwemwe Padata.
It is now a done deal. The Teachers Union of Malawi and Ministry of Education has agreed to suspend a teachers' strike that lasted for 3 weeks. In the agreement, Ministry of Education has made a commitment teachers will now get money in place of personal protective equipment, PPEs. The teachers were demanding COVID-19 risk allowance for being on the line amid the COVID-19 pandemic. TUM has held several meetings with Ministry of Education, but nothing seems to have worked out. All 4 meetings ended in a deadlock, forcing the intervention of a joint parliamentary committee on education, science and technology and community affairs to mediate. Brens Kaisi is a co-chairperson of the joint parliamentary committee.
Not only this issue of what we have agreed today, we will even again follow up with the other issues that they signed before. It is our mandate as a committee to make sure that what has been signed today, it is being implemented. The resolutions that have been made today, they are implemented.
A member of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Innocencia Chirombo, said the two parties now await the task force to decide the monetary value the teachers are to receive.
They need to do the calculations. That's where the education department has to do all the calculations and bring it to the task force.
But TUM President Wire Malimba says the union has given 2 weeks to the task force to come out clear on their commitment.
No. We'll be going back to on street. That's why we have said that we are suspending the strike. We are suspending, not calling off. You remember, the first document was written calling off the strike. But we said, no, this is a commitment document. Then we are saying we are suspending. When you fail to do what we have agreed here, we'll be going back on straight.
A lengthy dragging of the impasse paralyzed education in government schools, but now teachers are expected in class come Tuesday, 9th March. From Parliament in Lilongwe, I am Chimwemwe Badata.
And staying on parliamentary deliberations for the 2020-2021 budget review ended prematurely due to internet challenges, as some legislators following proceedings visually could not follow the deliberations. First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Lazarus Chakwera, made the decision following a motion by Leader of Government Business, Richard Chimwendo Banda, on grounds that deliberations needed participation by all. We have this report filed by Western Guta.
Acting on a motion by Leader of Government Business in the August House, Richard Chimwendo Banda, for an early adjournment, First Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Lazarus Chakwera, made a determination to suspend the House until tomorrow, Tuesday, to allow technicians work on the challenge. Later, Chimwendo Banda said the basis for the adjournment was to allow smooth internet service for the Committee of Supply deliberations that are crucial as they involve passing some votes that have been amended.
Today, we have failed. We first suspended Parliament for 30 minutes and the technicians tried to work on it, but it couldn't work. And basically what happens, I do monitor what's happening in the video and I do get messages from members of Parliament on our forum, but again on another platform that we created. You have seen the Speaker or the Chairperson of the Committee of Supply, the organizing members, over 7 or 8 of them on video, but that has not worked. And looking at how important this exercise is, wouldn't allow votes to pass without them attending to the activity.
Not a single legislator among those that are following through Zoom was able to get through due to the challenge, and the expectation is that technicians will have worked on it by Tuesday when business resumes. The parliamentarians present in the House, however, accepted adjustments, for example, allocations to the judiciary from 11.9 billion kwacha to 14.9 billion kwacha, and maintained the allocation to the National Assembly at 2.7 billion kwacha. The 2020-2021 National Budget Review is underway in Lilongwe, where members are participating physically and through the internet. For Zodiak in Lilongwe, this is Western Guta reporting.
President Lazarus Chakwera and his counterpart, President of Botswana, Dr. Mkhwesi Masisi, have agreed to join forces in the fight against COVID-19. The pact is among resolutions the two made after a meeting in Lilongwe during a one-day visit by the President of Botswana here in Malawi. They have also agreed to open embassies in both countries. Winston Kaimira filed this report.
President of Botswana, Dr. Mkhwesi Masisi, held bilateral talks with President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera before addressing the media on the outcome of the talks. The two presidents disclosed that Malawi and Botswana will cooperate in areas such as COVID-19 management, education, mining and fisheries.
Malawi and Botswana cooperate in the areas of mining, tourism, agriculture and education, following a bilateral resolution to that effect in 2018. In this regard, President Masisi and I are keen to see that resolution maximized through the revival of the Joint Permanent Commission on Cooperation, JPCC, and the utilization of the African Continental Free Trade Area, FCTA.
Masisi asked the country to vote for Elias Magosi, who is the Presidential Secretary in Botswana, on the position of SADC Executive Secretary in an election to be conducted in the next few months.
He is a permanent secretary to the President in Botswana. He is Secretary to Cabinet. He is head of the public service. He's an economist, a statistician, and a management specialist, experienced both in the private sector, government, and regional organization. In him, we believe we will be doing SADC a favor, a service, by offering him as one of your sons to lead SADC when the term of office of the current Executive Secretary ends in August. So we come humbly pleading for your vote.
President Chakwera welcomed the request. Currently, Botswana chairs the Politics, Defense and Security organ of SADC, and in the next 5 months, President Chakwera will take over the chairmanship of SADC. Botswana has since vowed to support Chakwera. This is Winston Kaimira reporting for Zodiak in Lilongwe.
And now let's move on to politics. Opposition Democratic Progressive Party DPP leadership has stopped all members aspiring to contest for the party presidency from from campaigning ahead of an elective convention to be held in 2023. A statement signed by party spokesperson Brown Mpinganjira says the conduct of the aspirants is undermining efforts to reunite the party. But one of the aspiring DPP presidential candidates, who is also party vice president for the South, Kwagwanji says he's surprised at the decision. Angela Nkandawire with details.
The immediate agenda of the party president, Professor Peter Mutharika, is to unite the party and strengthen its structures, but the ongoing campaign by aspiring presidential candidates in districts, regions and social media is undermining the very same agenda and instead promoting divisions. The party spokesperson, Brown Mpinganjira, says the position of the party's president is currently not vacant until 2023, when the party will hold its elective meeting, and that candidates still have enough time to prepare.
We are in the process of retooling the party, correcting where things were not going well, and bringing in our measures. And at this juncture, we need everybody else in the party, leaders, members, supporters. We need everybody to be pulling in the same direction. So it doesn't make sense that the other wing of the party is rebuilding and another side of the party is creating divisions. That's why we're saying, for the time being, please bear with us. Let us do one thing at a time.
However, one of the presidential aspirants, who is also the party's vice president for the Southern region and a member of the Central Committee, Kwagwanji, has expressed surprise over the development, saying as a member of the committee, he is not aware the Central Committee made to make such a decision. Some of the presidential aspirants for the party are Joseph Mwanamveka, Daliso Kabambe and Kwagwanji. These have been crisscrossing the country, meeting district and regional committee members who will be eligible to vote during the party's convention to be held in 2023. The party's current president, Professor Peter Mutharika, recently announced his decision to retire as the party's president. For Zodiak, this is Angela Nkandawire.
In business news, Minister of Tourism and Culture Michael Usi has assured captains in the tourism industry not to lose hope with the collapsing of their business due to the devastating COVID-19, as soon as some restrictions that are directly affecting the industry will be lifted soon. Usi has since urged the tourism players to be focused and explore innovations that will revitalize their businesses once the restrictions that have crippled the industry are lifted. He was speaking in Mulanje when he met tourism players in the district. We have our reporter Hastings Jumani in Mulanje.
Speaking on Monday in Mulanje when he met tourism players in the district, Minister of Tourism and Culture Michael Usi said tourism is one of the industries worst hit by COVID-19. Usi said tourists are no longer coming to the country due to restrictions put to prevent the spread of coronavirus in the country. He, however, assured captains in tourism industry not to lose hope with the collapsing of their businesses as soon as some restrictions that are directly affecting the industry will be lifted. Usi has also urged the tourism players to be focused and explore innovations that will revitalize their businesses once the restrictions that have crippled the industry are lifted.
As you know, we are in this COVID era, which has actually affected negatively the tourism industry. We wanted to reflect on our marketing strategies because we will not be in this situation forever. It will be history, and we hope to bounce back strongly. So what we are saying, let us look at our marketing strategy. When we talk about tourism, we are talking about selling Malawi. And what about Malawi? We are talking about Mulanje Mountain. We are talking about Lake Malawi, Nyika, Zomba Mountain, and many other interesting places. So, is it that only resource that we are selling? We were also talking about packaging. Somebody coming from the West, coming to Malawi to see the Big Five, you should be able to see other things, like, say, experience our culture.
Chairperson of Tourism Association of Mount Mulanje, Nancy Jinyanya, said the tourism players expect more support from government once restrictions are lifted, as some have literally closed their businesses due to COVID-19.
As the minister came, he talked about bailing us from these calamities, these challenges that we're facing. So what he has spoken is really giving us hope and encouragement that will rise up once again this year, no matter the matter. because some of us were really down. We thought maybe we came in tourism sector at the wrong time. But he has encouraged us that it is not like that. It's because of this pandemic. So the government is doing all sorts of things to help us, to bail us out, and to make us rise up and be on our feet again.
Later, the minister visited Karaumula Waterfalls, one of the tourist attractive places in Mulanje Mountain. For Zodiak in Mulanje, this is Hastings Jimani reporting.
You're watching the news on Zodiac. Who'll be back shortly.
To achieve great things in life, you must do little things every day, like the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate. With Colgate and give yourself a future to smile about.
Welcome back. My name is Chancemo Zabanda. A look at the headlines. Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority adjusts upwards fuel prices. Call off teachers' strike after convinced of a once-off COVID-19 payment by Presidential Task Force. High Court adjourns to March 19 hearing of Prophet Bushiri request for relief from further arrests by Malawi police. And in sports, First Capital Bank recommits sponsorship for National Youth Football League. Moving on with the news, the High Court in Lilongwe has adjourned to March 16 hearing of a matter in which Prophet Shepherd Bushiri is seeking court relief from any further arrest by Malawian authorities. The inter-party hearing comes after the court earlier granted Bushiri an injunction to that effect. Meanwhile, in another lower court, a magistrate has adjourned to next Monday hearing of Bushiri's extradition case. Andrew Viano was at the court for these matters.
The Bushiris were back in court Monday for hearing of two cases which were in different courts. The two first appeared before Lilongwe High Court, where the inter-party hearing on an injunction which the two obtained to stop effect the arrest was supposed to commence. But lawyer for the two, Kwagwanji Kita, asked for more time to go through the contents of submission on the matter. In another case in which the Bushiris are challenging the extradition to South Africa, their lawyer Kwagwanji Kita asked for an adjournment to allow them time to file documents to justify a need for Chief Resident Magistrate Bati Chirwa to recuse himself. Kita argued that Magistrate Chirwa is not fit to sit on the case because he is the one who issued a warrant of arrest against Shepherd Bushiri and his wife, for which the High Court is expected to start an inter-party hearing.
When we entered court, we realized that the matter has changed much, which took us by surprise. And at the same time, we have information that it is the same magistrate who had issued the warrant of arrest against our clients. Now, that warrant of arrest has been challenged in the High Court, and we really believe that there will be an apprehension of bias on the part of magistrate, whose decision we are challenging to proceed with the matter. So we have indicated to the court that we want to make a formal application for his recusal. He should not handle the matter, he should transfer it to a different magistrate who should take the matter. So the court has directed that we file the formal application and it will hear the matter on Monday next week, 15th of March.
Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, Dr. Stephen Kayuni, hopes the case will commence Monday.
We were just trying to emphasize the point that this is a court order that was made earlier on, and then they also indicated that they were ready to start the proceedings. So we did indicate to court that all the parties are indicating that they are ready. It's only right and proper that the matter proceeds.
Bushiri is challenging his extradition to South Africa, saying his life is at risk and he won't face fair trial.
Government has raked in about 1.5 billion kwacha in carbon tax from July last year to January this year. Treasury spokesperson Williams Banda says the money has been used for government developments and recurrent operations. Last year, various players in the environment and climate change circles faulted government for using the tax to increase tax base rather than mitigating effects of climate change. Haben Jalamano has filed this report.
Treasury spokesperson Williams Banda says funds collected from carbon tax are channeled to a consolidated account popularly known as Government Account Number 1. Banda says from July last year to January this year, government has collected about 1.5 billion kwacha of the tax, which he says has been used for national development.
It is a poor account where government uses to finance either development projects or other recurrent transactions. When we look at the other recurrent transactions, we look at the things that concerns each and every Malawians, be it health issues, education. This is the funds that emanate from the consolidated account.
Various players in environment and climate change circles have been accusing government for using the tax to increase tax base rather than mitigating effects of climate change. Banda, however, says government is using the tax in accordance with the way it was framed.
Discussion are underway to find the correct definition of the carbon tax. Others will agree with how the funds are used, and others will also not agree with how the funds are used. But as of now, the way the tax was framed was that it should be going to the account, and it is that the government is doing.
Last year, environmentalists called for reimbursement of the funds when it was discovered that 1 billion kwacha carbon tax was used for other activities.
And in sports news, First Capital Bank, sponsors of the National Youth Football League, say it remains committed to continue sponsoring the league. Bank representative Irwin Hiwa says reports the bank is planning to pull out are unfounded. And that item brings us to the end of this bulletin, but before we go, a look at the headlines. Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority adjusts upwards fuel prices. TUM suspends teachers' strike after convinced of a once-off COVID-19 payment by Presidential Task Force. High Court adjourns to March 16 hearing of Prophet Bushiri request for relief from further arrest by Malawi police. And in sports, First Capital Bank recommends sponsorship for National Youth Football League. Visit our website, zodiacmalawi.com, for more news. And remember, we are not out of the woods yet on COVID-19, so follow preventive measures without fail. My name is Chancellor Zabanda. Thanks for watching.
Let's take a moment to talk about money. Life can get a little pricey out there. The passing pleasure of a restaurant meal